Hello, welcome to the part two that I'm working on. Part two of how much is too much. I left off basically talking about, some of the, a situation that happened with my biological mother um, over the weekend. We kind of got into a verbal argument, and it escalated to her, uh, to me, getting out of control. That's how I would explain it. Now, I was kind of just going to talk a little bit about what has happened with me and my husband. We've gotten into um, a lot of verbal arguments, disagreements, things like that. We've raised our voices, and we've both gotten physical with each other. Um, and sometimes it'll go on for a day or two and stuff like that. And for me, like, um, I guess I've always looked at abuse as, like I said, what can you tolerate? Um, it's actually probably pretty easy for me to tolerate some things that I know most people would say don't tolerate that, but I can actually tolerate quite a bit if I'm able to talk about what happened, and we, me and the person involved can get some clarity on it, some resolution. I mean, those things really matter to me probably more than anything. So, when you talk about how much is too much, I'd probably factor that in. But it can be really tricky because, you know, um, if the abuse keeps on the same level and the person doesn't seem to be changing, and well, like I said, if you don't feel like you can talk to them, um, that can be enough to really need to walk away. Um, that's kind of how I felt with my biological mother. I just felt like she would get so out of control, and I felt too frequently like she was going to physically abuse me, and I felt very often that I wasn't safe around her. That was how I felt most of the time around her. So that kind of really drove me to decide to end the relationship, walk away, just make sure I don't have any contact with her. With my husband, it was different. Like I said, we were able to talk. I was able to see how I was as much to blame as he was, if you want to use the word blame. I played as much of a part as he did. Um, I just I couldn't really feel like, you know, um, well, I've never really felt like, it was a relationship where I needed to, you know, separate permanently and go get help for abuse and things like that. I never really felt like that because I felt like we could work it out. And like I said, I felt like I was equally to blame for everything that happened. Um, um, but that's not black and white. There were some things that just really hurt me that we um, that I didn't necessarily feel like was equal, but I did feel like we could talk about it, and so that was important to me. Now, I think one of the hardest things for me to go through when I look at, how much is too much. I just don't do well with things over long periods of time. So, I made a decision to take a break from my relationship with my husband because I just felt like we had been fighting for so long, and I wanted some kind of um, jump start to help us both um, find a way to handle our frustrations better. Um, but I would never say, I mean, I'm just talking about this recent time, when I took some time to leave my husband for a little bit. I would never say that it was a thing where I was gonna divorce or separate long term or anything like that. My main goal was to really get us help, because to me the conflicts that we were having were just too often and too much. But like I said, there were things that happened in the past that may have actually been worse, but I was able to tolerate it because I understood, you know, where we both were coming from. I really would just say, sometimes you just get tired. That's how I felt. I was just tired of things being the way that they were, and I didn't care what it took. I wanted to be able to fix myself. I wanted to step away to try to fix myself, which I really thought that. I mean, I'll just say this about myself: I have a lot of anger problems. I don't exactly know why I have all the problems I do, but I feel like majority of it is because of what happened growing up with my biological mother, being very scared all the time, and not being able to talk to her about it, and excuse me, um, and just um, I guess feeling so helpless and stuff really just made me angry, and and because she was so angry, I mean, it kind of she was my example, so I just became kind of an angry person too, and I thought that that was how you dealt with relationships. You know, um, if somebody does something you don't like, you go to anger, because that's what she always did, and that's all I knew. But so I felt like part of me trying to um, get better is to face her. Um, which, I mean, I did learn some things by trying to go visit her. Um, I still I still don't know if it was enough to really change my anger. Like, I see myself as very much part of the problem in my relationship, and um, I don't know what the right decision is to get help for the things that I need. But I've tried different avenues, and I can't really seem to get very far. With counseling and things like that. But to get back to my point, I'm just trying to give you an example of like how much is too much for me. Maybe that will help you kind of figure out how much is too much for you. Uh, there's so many details to my relationship. It probably doesn't make much sense to you, but I will say that what I went through with my biological mother is too much for me. And I've had a couple of other relationships before my husband, and there were some things that I were abusive that I felt like were too much too. So I mean, um, you have to really, I guess I'd say you have to really look at your feelings. Um, do you feel like this is traumatizing you? Do you feel like you can recover with the person? Do you feel like I said, do you feel like you can talk to them about it? You know, or maybe you have somebody else you can talk to. I mean, I know counseling works for some people, but you know, um, are you able to work through what you're going through and possibly face it again? Those are important questions. Um, and again, I can't really speak to what God thinks about all of it. Um, I'll just say it seems like He wants us to be happy, and He wants us to not feel like we can't function. I really felt like I couldn't function when I lived at home, and I felt like, I mean, I felt a couple times in my relationship with my husband, which he's shared, he felt this too. We both felt like we the other might kill us, but I feel like when I lived at home with with my biological mother, I felt like she was going to kill me all the time. I was in such a state of fear, and I just couldn't function in life. So anyway, I guess those are the main things I would say. Um, just really try to figure out what you're feeling. Try to figure out if it's too much for you to bear or not. That's probably all that really matters at the end of the day when you look at an abusive relationship. You know, I feel like I can talk about abusive relationships very well because I've been in a few, like I said, and you know, and I've been the abuser too. So um, I feel like I understand a lot about them. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, and I thank you for watching. Have a nice day.